I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Welcome all to Acting Class Weekly Home Editions. And as always, I have the fabulous Miss Phenomenal. I kind of merged the names. Sorry about that. But Miss Phenomenal, Roxy Stryer.
It sounded like you said Miss Phenomenal.
I know, but I said the fabulous Miss Phenomenal, but that's Mr. Funtabulous. So I didn't want. You know
yes,
what I mean?
It was very confusing, Sean. I'm sure the people had no idea.
Yeah, people are just clicking and turning it off in droves.
They must have been lost. It's okay. He promises to do better for the rest of the episode.
Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of angry messages. And of course, Mr. Funtabulous.
Sean, you should have introduced me as the phenomenal Mr. Funtabulous.
Yeah, see, that's why he gets the big bucks. And that's why I'm a novice podcaster and you're an expert podcaster.
No.
So we talked about, I mentioned that the casting directors were doing kind of open calls for actors that they hadn't seen in a while or new actors. And they said, pick a 1 to 2 minute monologue and send them in. And so I mentioned this on last week's show, and Roxy was very intrigued and said, let's talk about that. I think people would be very interested.
I just think this is something anybody can do during this time. Anybody can record one of these during this time. And if you are an actor who right now is trying to hone your craft, develop your skills, is not able to get to acting class and is not able to observe people like you suggest, Sean, this is a great time to put yourself on camera and really try to learn and grow.
Yeah. And so I'll take you through the journey of not only the self-tape that I chose to do, but actually I wrote it myself. Because I really knew exactly what I wanted to accomplish. But before we get into that, we have to get into Shawns week. And I feel like, and this is going to be very controversial, but Roxy and I were going to have an indoor Shawns week. And Jeff, you have to do your interpretation of outdoor Shawns week.
Wow. Okay? We're segregating the outdoors from the indoors.
Right. Yeah. So we're seeing what that feels like. Because the world is indoor and outdoor, and so we should be a representation of the entire world with this one Shawns week. No pressure. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Shawns week.
Ooh, he was in the canyon, the vastness.
Wow,
I
feel as if that was Jeff's strongest performance.
That was that, and I feel like I hate being an indoor. I don't even. My choice was kind of I'm in the bedroom and I'm chilling. Roxy, what was your choice?
Yeah, well, I just thought about being a school kid and them saying use your indoor voice.
Oh, so you did that?
Yeah, I was using an indoor voice.
And
very Meisner.
And he had a very vast. Well, I feel if the world isn't represented, then, go live on Mars.
Yes.
That's the way.
The three of us are clear representation of the world.
The entire planet.
For sure.
Okay, so what have I done? Very kind of a busy week for me. Continuing to do TikToks, trying to figure out how it works, the analytics, but I'm still growing. I'm still finding fans. I signed on to Roxy's fabulous TikTok, which was very fun. And I did one with Daria Baranato, Sonia Deville. I did one regarding her because I worked with her. And that's another thing that I did this week was she had a big audition for kind of a big show. So we worked Monday on the kind of breaking it down. And then we worked on it today, actually taping it. And, it's difficult to do, across the country, but it was a big one and we really chopped away at it. So that was really cool.
Quick tease. I will be talking about Daria in a little bit for some reason that you guys will find out if you keep listening.
Ooh. I'm going to do one more quick tease around Daria too. She was on Maria Menounos' show last week, Better Together. She actually surprise bomb prank called her frenemy Mandy Rose. Ooh. And Sean, she had to do a lot of acting. She disguised herself 3 times and tricked Mandy. So props to you for giving her those skills.
Dang.
Well, we got a lot of love for her big Don't
talk about it. Don't tell him. Don't tell the people.
Okay. All right. I got my sketch class, and I have a new exciting student that's going to be involved in this online
Who?
sketches that we're doing. Miss Phenomenal herself. So excited to have her be a part. It was kind of weird, though. I must say, she was sitting as an auditor. She was sitting silently, like watching me teach the class and interact with the people. And it was a little scary. I was like,
really?
Man, who knows? Because who knows? You were just listening, and you were just so your face was giving me nothing. So you could have said afterwards, like, this is not my deal. I don't really like what's going on.
No, I thought it was amazing. I don't like to come into a place and take over when I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to.
You're missing my point. I'm just saying I had no idea what was happening. And so, I mean, you can say, how was I as a teacher then?
I thought you did a great job, Shawn. I think it was probably a more unique class than usual, as we are in quarantine and trying to figure out the format for something.
Right.
But I thought you did a great job going around the room and giving your honest feedback on things, which is not always easy to do. And people had specific pitches that you thought didn't work for certain reasons or did work for others, but not playing favoritism. And I also like that you let the class ultimately decide what they were going to do, because people are going to always be more invested in a project that they picked than that you told them that they had to work on. So I thought that was really cool. And I thought the people in your class seemed great. I have a total girl crush on one of them, and
I know, she
I'm
admitted
obsessed with her.
That's so funny.
I have a new acting buddy.
Yes, and then Jason and Tillay, guys, go back and look at our episode about independent filmmaking and how to make it work with Jason and Tillay Trost. And Jason is down in Australia. He and his wife Tillay are quarantined. And what are they doing? They made up a whole new series. It's a sequel to a movie that they did in Thailand with Lucas Till, who is MacGyver, CBS's MacGyver, called Wet and Reckless. It was a very funny premise about reality stars. Think of Jersey Shore, like going to Thailand, but then they find out that there's buried treasure and a bunch of stuff. But the whole time they're so dumb, they don't realize that that's the reality show, that they're getting punked into this whole thing.
That's great.
So that was the comedy movie. So this is the sequel, and it's going to be in little 15-minute episodes that everyone will be able to see. Right now, the VIPs are watching it, but I played David D. Michaels, the scuzziest agent in the world, and it was so fun. Jason gave me 3 bullet points, kind of like Larry David style, what I need to hit, and he said, "Do your thing." So, for example, I did one where I'm walking outside and I had a bandana on, and it said, and I will say a bad word, but it's not that bad. But I said 6 feet, bitch, right on the front of it. And so I pretend to get like someone comes close to me, and I said, "Can't you read?" And then they try to come close to read, and I go, "What? No, don't come!" And then I start trying to kick them and stuff like. But it was completely improvised.
Wait, so you filmed this here?
By myself with my camera, walking. And then I sent that footage to him. And then he splices it together. So this is about his character. He's called the Lobo.
And he's the one who's coming close to you? So you're filming?
No. It's just me, and I'm his manager sending him a message.
But is he going to cut it together so it looks like you guys are in the same scene?
No. I mean, he's getting a message from Los Angeles. He lives in Australia. He actually is in Australia, and the character's in Australia. And it's me telling him that we've got a new reality show called Corona House, where he's stuck in there.
Got it. Love that.
We're gonna get all his stuff. So it was so creative, and I got to film all my 3 scenes, and I got to just come up with the grossest, places to do it. One time I was just riding my spin bike, but talking about this hot lady that's a one-night stand in the middle of it. In the last one, I'm manscaping in my bathroom while I'm doing it. So it's just such a fun character, and they're fans of mine. So I just sent it, and it's so weird. Here's the weirdest thing. I was so nervous. I'd call him up and I'd just go, "Hey, did you like it? Did you that?" And Jason goes, "Dude, I'm like one of your biggest fan and friends. What are you doing?" I go, "It's weird that like."
That's you for everything, Shawn.
I was going to say, that's the same with, just a little peek behind the curtain, Roxy can speak to this too. You're very conscientious. That's how we can put it, which is good. You know, that's why
Yeah.
you've had a
That
great
I care.
career.
You mean conscientious that I care? I mean, I don't want to be like a paranoid,
No, you just
No.
not paranoid. You just, after every single acting class weekly, you want to know how was it? Because you want notes if it wasn't good.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was very sweet. Our producer Ryan was telling me, you guys, man, you're really good at TikTok. And I went, well, I worked hard to try to do it right, as well, trying to figure it out. Like I can't believe in the past 2 years in my 50s, I'm learning how to be a podcaster, how to do social media, you know what
It's
I mean?
awesome.
How to TikTok, it never ends. The hustle never ends,
I
everybody.
think that's
Just
great
letting you know
because
that.
the lesson being that the business is always evolving, so you have to evolve.
Pivot. Yeah, pivot. So I've actually had like a big, creative week. So it's been really fun.
Can I quickly
And,
ask Sean before we move on? I'm
Yeah.
always interested in filmmakers that do the kind of like structured improvisational approach to like assembling a feature.
Mhm.
A Chicago director I really like named Joe Swanberg does this too, and a lot of big actors work with him. Was this your first time doing that sort of like hit these beats and we'll put it in the
No,
film?
Jason, I mean, specifically, I did it in Never Been Kissed, which I talked about in the show.
Oh yeah, you're right.
And then on
How dare
Jason,
you forget that,
I
Jeff?
know. I'm in trouble.
Jason literally always says with all his movies, they go, "Do you improvise your movies?" And he goes, "No, only Sean Whalen does." in every one of his movies, because he just gives me, like, I drove up to his set for the FP3 and 4, literally not knowing anything about what was happening. He goes, "This is what's happening." He gave it to me 10 minutes before. And I sat there and I came up with a few, structured ideas, but then just kind of went with it. And then we
pretty
would
cool.
throw out ideas on the thing. So, but this one, he sent me a script, but he goes, "You don't have to hit all the words. Do you know what I mean? You just have to get through it,
Mm.
and then add whatever you want." And they just love what I want. And Talays, she woke up, she got the episodes, and her first thing she sent me said, "Horrifying." And I was like, "Wait, in a good way or a bad way?" And she was like, "Oh, in the best way, because you're supposed to be the most misogynistic, jerky guy, and you just nailed it to a T." And my girlfriend got to be the behind the camera voice of the hot Delta stewardess that was quarantined with me.
Oh my God.
I love it. Great stuff,
That was
Sean.
really funny. You guys would like it. I'll have to send you the clips. They're pretty funny. So I've been doing a lot, and obviously this show, and we want you to appreciate the show. I did a TikTok about this show. We want to get to know you more. And so, Roxy, how can we do that?
Always on podcast and YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe, give a 5-star, a thumbs up wherever you are. Why does it matter? Because number one, we want to know what you guys want us to talk about on the show. It's really important. We pick the topics based on what you actors are curious about and what you need help in or want to know more about from Sean. So that's a great way to let us know what your opinions are and what we should be doing next. And also, it helps grow the community. So the more times that you like a video or give something 5 stars or write a review, the more likely somebody else is to find Acting Class Weekly. And if we grow our community, we can keep this going for a really long time. So we really appreciate you guys doing that. Speaking of what you talked about before, Sean, with Daria, I did want to give a quick shout out because I know she had such a massive week this week, and she cut a promo that people are talking about all over the place for WWE. She cut the most amazing promo. And so I went back to the Daria episode that we did when she came on Acting Class Weekly. Sonia Deville, of course, is who I'm talking about, guys, Daria Baronetto. And I just wanted to read a comment from here. Casey Marie said, "This interview was outstanding in terms of getting her personal perspective of how she wanted to develop her character and expand her opinions. Loved it from start to finish."
Yeah.
So Sean, that's just such a shout out to you and what you've been able to do as her acting coach. And I feel very lucky that you are mine as well. And then quick shout out in here in the super chat for people watching us live. By the way, we go live every single Wednesday at 3 p.m. Pacific time. That's 3 p.m. Pacific time on AfterBuzz TV on the YouTube. So make sure you check us out there. But Larry Lease just dropped a super chat that says, "No questions, just wanted to show my support." We really appreciate that. Thank you for supporting the show, the network, and helping keep AfterBuzz TV growing and frankly going and growing. So thank you guys all for watching this, and just wherever you are, leave that star, that thumb, that comment, all of that great stuff. Thanks for being here with us, guys.
Thank you. So let's jump into this. So as I mentioned, casting directors just put out a thing to get to reintroduce themselves to actors they haven't seen in a while,
Right.
or to get to know some actors. So my agent sent it to me, and I thought, I sent it. I remember asking you specifically, like, is this for me or is this for mostly your newer clients? She goes, no, it's for everybody. And I looked through the few of them, and
The few casting directors or
a few
samples?
casting directors
Okay.
had done that, and I thought to myself, yeah, I haven't seen these people in a while. And one, I think one said I never saw at all. Like, I've never been in their office. Because they were just doing shows I didn't, I hadn't been in for. So, okay, what I want to do for me is to make sure to expand my range, because if you've been around as long as me, most people will say, I know that guy. I know Sean. He's great. He's always funny or whatever. And most of these people are not as much into the indie horror scene, but they are into, probably know most of my 90s stuff, which was very big and broad, and wacky faces. When I did the milk commercial, there was just a string including Jury Duty, and they even in Twister they said, hey, we're gonna have a steak and we want Sean to shove the steak in his mouth and chew it, because there was something about my thin face with a big mouthful of food, which was funny, and my facial expression. So it was always kind of comedic and broad or whatever. So I expanded later, but I just wanted to make sure that this was still and subtle, but had a sweetness to it. So I came up with this idea, and I wrote this thing about and I just had an audition where I played like a kind of a white trash, lower class. I mean, not really white trash, but just low class kind of guy that didn't have a lot of money. And I just done an audition for that on a big show. And I thought, well, I still have that look. I still have the beard. I'm just going to do this, something with that, which is great because those men are kind of quiet a lot of times, just kind of salt of the earth men. And I wanted to show that side of me. So I decided to write this script about a dad who's not good enough for his teenage daughter on the night of the daddy-daughter dance. Not good enough in the biggest sense, but on the superficial sense. And she calls him out, and he wants to just make everything better. So I wrote this, I had the idea, I had thought out the idea, and then I wrote out this 2-page, because the instruction said 1 to 2 minute scene. So if you guys don't know this in script writing, a page in proper script format should be a minute. So that's 2 pages, right? So I wrote these 2 pages, and this was my first draft of this. So Roxy, if you will read the part of the daughter, Terry, I will play the part of Jim, and that's my character. And just to let you guys know, and you'll see in the tape, I'm wearing like a flannel shirt under a suit jacket. And she's supposed
to... Tell me the action, y'all.
What's that? Yeah, you want to read the action? Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Go for it.
Jim, a blue-collar father in a flannel shirt and suit jacket, knocks on his daughter Terry's door.
Honey, you've been in there for quite a while.
I told you to look nice for the daddy-daughter dance, Dad. You said you were going to wear a nice shirt.
Jim looks at the shirt.
I thought this was a nice shirt.
Oh my God, I asked you to buy a nice one. Why didn't you do it this week like you said?
I was working late because nothing. You're right. I'm sorry.
I don't want to go. Not to sound mean, but everyone says I'm white trash, and you didn't even shave.
Yeah, I did. I did the edge just like on Queer Eye.
I meant off. Whatever.
No, honey, I get it. I want you to go, honey. So I called Phil. I mean, he's just your stepfather, but he's in real estate and has nice suits and stuff. He's on his way over right now.
Are you sure?
Absolutely. He's great with people. He'll do you proud.
Well, okay. I'm sorry, Dad. It's just...
Forget it, honey. All good. Plus, I was going to surprise you with a pizza dinner at Sol Italia before the dance, so you and Phil can go. My treat.
I love that place. Thank you.
And remember that corsage from Cheryl's you said you wanted? I got it for you.
What? That was so expensive.
Well, I knew this was a special night. It's on the dining room table.
I can't believe it. Oh, Phil's up front. Gotta run. Love you, Dad.
Love you too, Pumpkin. You have a good night, sweetie. You sure look beautiful. Hey, Ron. I need to come in late tomorrow. Sorry, I get a phone call. Terry got sick, and we're not going. Yeah, she's bummed. And do me a favor and tell the guys I don't want them asking me to see pictures. And I'm still good for those extra shifts this month, right? Great. See you tomorrow.
Damn, Sean.
It's so sad.
I know. So what I did was write that, and I gave it to my writing partner, Doug. Guys, if you ever heard about creating content of the episode where Roxy and Doug and I literally come up with the premise and write a sketch within the hour of the show, it's great. He's a great writer. And I gave it to my daughter, Amy, who's 16. So just to make sure that it was in the language. And I gave it to my girlfriend. And Amy and Sheena both said that at the same time. They're like, oh my God, that's so sad.
It's so sad.
But I wanted to, listen, I'm obsessed with the two things at once, which is the classic, and I've mentioned it here, is Denzel Washington in Glory, when he's looking at Matthew Broderick going, you will not break me, getting whipped, and him looking at Matthew Broderick like, you're not going to break me, as tears come down his face. Like, that's interesting to me. The two things at once. Me being strong and kind when the father is dying inside, you know? So that's what I wanted to do. And I knew if I overplayed it, it would look really lame, like all teary-eyed and stuff like that. Or if I, too flat, then you wouldn't get any of it. But these kind of men, these John Wayne type men, don't say a lot, And
and the writing. Sorry to interrupt, Sean, but it was well written. I know we're going to read the next draft, but the writing gives us enough. You don't need to. If you overperform what's already cooked into the script, it's just the audience rolls their eyes. We get it. We're tracking. You can play that subtly. We understand it.
Yeah, and then Doug, well, obviously he's more of a writer. He thought at the beginning, well, he's trying to convince her at the beginning to go to the dance. That's confusing because then he says he has this other idea. And I said, no, Doug, that's the writing. When I perform it, he's just saying that he did a little bit. He's not trying to say like, well, I should still go. I could understand by reading it cold that he might think that I'm trying to say, no, still take me. And then all of a sudden the decision, but doesn't make sense that I called the stepfather. But I said, no, it'll make more sense that I'm just trying to show her I tried. I'm not trying to convince her to still take me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
When I'm talking about the beard and the things like that. He also said, maybe the beard thing plus the shirt is too much. But my girlfriend said, no, you have to show that he did a lot to try.
Yeah.
And then the next thing that Doug said is he said, the corsage plus the restaurant is a little much. It's the same beat twice. And again, my girlfriend was like, well, you needed to show how much he's done. So I took that into consideration and I wanted to leave everything at the end. So I did, but I did all those trims and then I taped this version that you're going to see right now, which is the 2 minute and 20 minute version. And we'll talk about that. Okay, here you go. You've been in here for quite a while, Terry.
I told you to look nice for the daddy-daughter dance, Dad. You said you were going to wear a nice shirt.
I thought this was a nice shirt.
Oh my God, I asked you to buy a nice one. Why didn't you do it last week like I said?
Oh, I was working late because... never mind, nothing. You're right, sorry.
I don't want to go, not to sound mean, but everyone says I'm like trash and you didn't even shave.
Well, yeah, I did. I even did the edges like they said on Queer Eye.
I meant off. Oh, whatever.
No, I get it. Listen, Terry, I ended up calling
Phil. Now, I know he's just your stepdad, but he's in real estate. So he's got really nice suits, and he's on his way right now.
Are you sure?
Absolutely. He's really good with people. He's going to do you proud.
Okay. I'm sorry, Dad. It's just...
No, don't you worry about it. Plus, I got a surprise for you. I got you reservations at La Flower.
La Flower?
Yep. That's the one, but now you and Phil can go. And it's on me.
I've always wanted to go there, but it's so expensive, Dad. You can cancel it.
No way. I know this is a special night. You go. And enjoy it.
I can't believe it. Thank you. Oh, Phil's out front. I've got to run.
Okay.
I love you, Dad.
I love you too, and you look beautiful. You have a great night, hon. Hey, Ron. I don't have to come in late tomorrow. Terry got sick, and so we're not going now. Yeah, we're both bummed. Yeah, and do me a favor. Don't tell the guys so I don't have to pretend to show them a bunch of pictures and stuff, you know? And I'm good for those extra shifts this month. Thanks, brother. Have a good night.
Oof. Sean, I cried watching that, man.
Did you? That's sweet.
I haven't been sleeping a ton, so that's probably part of it. But it was
so
really good.
sad.
I know.
Yeah. So I didn't want to overdo it, you know? And I wanted to just show that, like I said, you don't have to, like you said, Jeff, when it's in the writing, and I teach this all the time, you know? And even with Daria today, there's like, you know, it's God, stillness is just something I've been so interested in lately. And not overdoing it, and not like, you know, I thought about, do I look teary-eyed or whatever? And it's like, no, she won't leave. It'll look like a ploy. It'll look like a guilt thing. And he's not. He's actually, he knows, you know, he can't really do it. You know what I mean? He can't really fulfill it. So I was extremely happy with that take. Now, as you can see, we took out the corsage bit, and I decided, ooh, well, let's do a, wow, that's quick. That we
Sean just saw a message from our producer that said 9 minutes, and
I know. I was like, oh my God, I thought we had like 15 left, but okay.
Right.
That's why I said that. Sorry, people. But anyway, so then I realized that the restaurant's really great. He gets it wrong. La Flower.
That was great.
Yeah.
I caught that on this.
Yeah, I caught that too. I liked that.
And so that's when I did that edit. But guys, I've talked about this a million times. Follow instructions. So I tried to edit it, and I got it down to like 2 minutes and 10 seconds and things like that. But then I'm telling you, the thing said between 1 and 2. That does not mean 220. So they could literally open up the file, see that it's 220, and just ditch it. i.e., you didn't follow instructions, right?
Yeah.
So I just didn't know what to do. So I called Doug again, and he said, you know, forget the beard thing. And I was like, I really like the beard thing. I don't think the shirt's enough. The beard, because I could change my shirt. The beard thing, plus that, it shows too much. And then I really liked the floor, and I tried to cut that down a little bit. But then Doug said, you don't need that thing at the end. We can see it in the emotion.
Are you talking about the phone call?
Phone call to the guy.
I was thinking about this exact same thing. I didn't feel like we needed the phone call.
The reason that we thought we needed the phone call was because it was to show how excited I obviously was at work. I told
I get it. I get it. But it didn't show
guys and stuff. And
I don't know that it showed range that we hadn't seen, because you know, it completed a story, but it's not a short.
Yeah, as a writer, it makes sense.
Yeah.
As
I
a
think
performer.
I was like I said, I was just trying to show how excited he was outside of that. Not just that he was a little sad that his daughter didn't take him.
Right.
So that was the main note. I went in, I sat down, and I thought, okay, what can I do to do this better? And I thought I did something that solved that, and it was shorter. So this is the second take.
Ooh.
Hey, Terry.
And this was
You've been in here for a while.
I told you to look nice for the daddy-daughter dance, Dad. You said you were going to buy a nice shirt.
I thought this was a nice shirt.
Oh my God, I asked you to buy a nice one. Why didn't you do it this week like you said?
Oh, because I was working late, because... You're right. Sorry.
I don't want to go. Not to sound mean, but everyone says I'm white trash, and you didn't even shave.
I did. I did that queer eye edge that we saw.
I meant off. Whatever.
Oh. No, you're right, honey. I get it. Listen, I want you to go, Terry, so I called Phil. Now, I know he's just your stepfather, but he's in real estate, and he has really nice suits, and he's on his way right now.
Are you sure?
Oh, absolutely. He's really good with people. He's going to do you proud.
Well, okay. I'm sorry, Dad. It's just...
No, forget it. And I got a surprise for you. I got reservations at La Flower.
La Fleur?
Yep, that's the place. Now, you and Phil can go, and it's on me.
I've always wanted to go there, but it's so expensive. You could cancel it, Dad.
No way. I know this is a special night. Now, you go and enjoy it.
I can't believe it. Thank you. Thank you. Phil's out front. I gotta run. Love you, Dad.
I love you, too. You look beautiful, hon. You have a great night. Hey, Robbie. Yeah, I'm going to swing by, drop off that coat. I'm not going to need it after all. Hi, Sean Whalen. I'm 5'8", and I'm represented by Metropolitan Talent Agency and by Gary Uzdal at Advanced
Sorry,
Management.
Yeah.
Sean, did they tell you to slate after, or did you decide that?
They
It specifically said slate after
No,
your
I
piece?
asked Gary, and Gary said do it afterwards.
Got it.
So I did a tail slate. But Doug called me up after I sent him that one. He goes, I think that coat thing's way better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. He just said, I just think it's way better and more simple.
I think that you get attached to things as a performer or a writer, because they're more nuanced or whatever it is. But that's why it's important to have other people look. I know we only have a few minutes left, but can I ask you some quick questions?
Please do.
So Sean, for this setup, how did you pick outfits? How did you what was the aesthetic?
What I did know is it was about the shirt. So I put a flannel shirt. I had a flannel shirt and I had a suit jacket. That's all I really needed. And then I had my beard, and my beard was more unkempt. So I had to shave the edges so I could make that line work, that I shaved the edges. And I have a setup in my house for my SelfTape, which is just a gray cloth, keeping it simple. And then at the beginning, I did it. So I knocked, but then we talked, and then all of a sudden she runs out. That made no sense. That's why I did a thing. You couldn't see me. I push open the door and she runs past me, because it wouldn't make any sense if I was talking outside the door. Then all of a sudden she just disappears. So just things like that. And then the eyeline was just a little off, as if I was looking in a bedroom, but those were the real choices.
And did you write it based on, during this quarantine, who you knew you had available as a reader?
Yeah, I knew I either had my girlfriend or my daughter. And
who read with you?
That was Sheena.
She was great.
Yeah.
Wow, I thought that it sounded like it sounded more like Amy.
No, that was Sheena. Amy wasn't here because Amy was on the quarantine with her mom.
Right.
Yeah.
Go
Amy
Sheena, girl.
Yeah, she sounded good.
Yeah. Well, she's an actress from back in community theater back in Pittsburgh. So, but yeah, I told her, she was doing it for a while, and then it was great because we were kept messing up little just glitches over and over again. So she was getting really annoyed, and I was like, use the annoyance. Yeah. But what do you guys think? Did you think it was?
There's the thing, Sean.
There's the thing. No. I mean, I guess it's intention versus execution. Have you ever watched a movie and then do the DVD extras, and then you're like, that was his intention?
No, your intention is spot on. I think that it showed it, because I still think of you, because of your Groundlings background and the majority of things that I've seen you in, I still think of you as a comedic actor, even though you have done so much drama. So I do think it was really smart choice for you to go in this direction, because you are more established. I think for anybody who's trying this at home, just do your strength. do the thing you're strongest at.
Absolutely.
Don't try to prove anybody wrong. Only if you're trying this at home and you're on a level of Sean Whalen can you kind of decide to show them a different side of you, I think.
Yeah, and I think the main thing is when you write something, write to exactly what you want to showcase. And I wanted to show a sweetness, because people think when you're wacky, there's no sweetness. We didn't get to see Jim Carrey's sweetness until like, Spotless Mind, right? Eternal Sunshine of Spotless Mind, like really sweet, or Truman Show. But even that was a little broad, you know what I mean? But his true sweetness didn't come out till Eternal Sunshine, really, to me. And of course, he had moments in Liar Liar and things like that, but and so I just wanted to make sure that they saw I could stand still. I could be still. I don't have to indicate anything by my faces or anything like that,
Sean, what about our actors who feel self-conscious about their writing, if they're really new to writing, to write their own material?
Then you do what I did. I did not feel so confident that I didn't turn it into one of my friends who has some experience. And even an objective family person, the reason I gave it to my daughter was what I said, this teenager sounds so, completely not a teenager. Do you know what I mean? And this thing, and my girlfriend was just, objective. She knew what I wanted, so she wanted to see if my goal and my writing merged up. But more importantly, a friend who knows writing, anyone that knows writing, and say, this is what my intention, and does my intention and my actions merge?
Jeff, do you mean as opposed to using something previously written?
No, more just like, if maybe I'm an actor from Minnesota who doesn't have a ton of like writer friends, but I still want to put something on tape. But I think you're right. And the truth is, if you're an actor, try to meet those people online, try to make those friends. You want to build your network, and to incentivize your writer friends to help you with this. It's really good for writers also to get their material on tape. So, writers build reels too. They have reels of their scenes that have been, web series shows. So if you can get this material you've written into the hands of a good actor to get it on tape, that's how you incentivize your friends to help you write material.
And if you are new, for me, I think good advice would be think small. This does not have to be alien invasion. You're sprinting away and all of a sudden the president is and that's who you're having the conversation with, as you are also the inventor of a jetpack. Like, too much. Think small premise. Sean picked his daughter, the daughter dance, and she doesn't want to go with him because she's embarrassed. That's something that we can all relate to, so something small, lifelike. You do not have to be like, okay, well, this is my chance to show that I can be this action star of all. Just something simple and small.
Hey, this is why I booked the milk commercial again. It was the guy's life work come to a head, everything he's ever done coming to a head at one moment to define his entire life of all his studying. And he just happens to have peanut butter in his mouth and he can't answer the question. And so when I lose that thing, I'm bummed and just depressed, as opposed to being furious and angry and screaming, and that, think how simple that comedic commercial is. Simple. Think of the simplest thing. Lucy needs to get a job, and I Love Lucy. And the only things they can get that's unskilled is at a chocolate factory. And all she has to do is wrap the chocolates, but it goes too fast. That's it. That's the simple premise, and just comic gold.
I like, Sean, that you picked also. So Sean didn't do a scene with his sick uncle, because Sean knew during quarantine he had two women of a certain age that he could fit in vocally with whatever. So if you are trying to film this while you're in quarantine, I just suggest looking at your resources. What do you have? Who are your writer friends? Who's going to be reading with you? And that might help define what you're going to be writing about. So if it's you and your sister, you might do a scene between sisters.
Let me also say, by the way, it's been very clear with every audition I've got as a self-tape. No one wants you to bring in anyone new into your house. They are saying, you can do a Skype call or someone on a phone call doing your lines off screen. So don't worry about that either. And everyone's very open and very relaxed about, what's going on with that.
Good note.
And my story from the set this week is basically when I had to do this movie Street Level, where I played a serial killer and he was very quiet. I called my friend Rick Rogers in New York. He's from Oz, and he hammered me on. He taught me like Stillness 101, like nothing. He said, "I watched you for 15 years, and I know all your bag of tricks, and I'm not going to allow you to do any of them." And it made this serial killer far creepier because he said, I just sat there and said nothing. And I'll give you kind of a taste of what that was like. It was just like, yeah, well, I asked this girl if she could go out with me after art class. And she said she doesn't date anybody from class. And all her friends laughed at me. And so I had to dig a lot of holes because they're not laughing anymore. And it just like, he made me be so still, and it was so much more creepier.
Yeah.
And I thought like, oh, this isn't working. And then when I saw it on film, I go, oh, it's really. And I hammered one of my students this way recently too. And he was just like, I'm not doing anything. I don't get it. And then he'd go home and watch it on his computer on a bigger screen. And he'd call me up and go, I get it. I get it. It is really powerful, and it is powerful, because it's always more noble to see someone try not to fall apart. That's why I've said this before. I'm not a huge fan of James Dean.
Yeah.
It is too much. Didn't we talk about this, Jeff?
Yeah, you're more Brando, right?
Yeah. I like him sitting there listening to his sister, his wife, and her sister giving him a hard time as he sits there, and they go wham and throws a teacup.
I just don't know it's fair. Quick. It's a different time. We don't know what James Dean.
They're not that different. It was
no. I'm saying between today and James Dean, we don't know what James Dean could have accomplished today if.
No. If he would have lived or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, I saw Anthony Hopkins on Westworld, and he was more still and more powerful than anything he did on Silence of the Lambs 20 years ago.
Yeah,
wow.
10 times more. I think what he did on Westworld was far better than Silence of the Lambs.
Hot take, Sean Whalen. But yeah. I haven't seen it, so I'll check it out.
The first season,
you haven't
Anthony
seen Silence
Hopkins
of the Lambs?
was
I've seen Silence of the Lambs. I haven't seen that.
Westworld's great. Yeah, he's great.
He's phenomenal. So that was my self-tape. That was my experience, and I've never shown many of my acting on this show, so it was
amazing, Sean. Amazing.
It really
job.
was.
Thank you.
And what a valuable show. I want to challenge our listeners to do this. That's my advice. If you're listening to the show, this isn't that big of an ask. And I think if you take your career seriously, what a cool opportunity. We're challenging you as a show to do this before next week. If you do, comment down below and let us know that, that's just exciting. It's an exciting chance for you to kind of get some material. And Sean, I do have a quick question. Would you be okay putting an unlisted link of the video in the description of this show, or is it kind of like need to stay private with the casting directors?
I don't know. Let me reach out to my management. I don't think so, because it's not copyrighted, obviously. Right. It's my thing, I wouldn't think it would be a problem.
Quick question on that too, Sean. Could they do a brief monologue?
Of course. Mine was a monologue or a scene. I just thought mine worked better for a scene. But yeah,
so if you guys have nobody to read with you, then do a monologue. And I agree, Jeff. I think that's a great challenge. And Sean, I might try to do the challenge myself. And see
I have one of you, by the way, and I was going to call you and try to put it in this show, but I didn't think we'd have enough time.
Wow.
You know my favorite one that you did.
Yeah, but I don't think I have it.
I do, I think. I sent it to you.
I know, but it goes away in the, what's it called?
The cloud.
WeTransfer.
I think I have it. I think I have it.
Well, let's have it for next week.
If we have it, we'll talk offline.
We'll talk.
Yes.
As always, where can we find you?
Well, quick plug tomorrow on my YouTube channel, on the show that I do every day live at the Roxy at 3:30. Sean Whalen is my guest. So if you guys do not watch it already, come on over. I got a lot of great people that guest on it, but I know that you guys are going to be fans of tomorrow's episode. So that's 3:30 Pacific time, youtube.com/Roxy Stryer. Sean, I cannot wait to have you. It will be different than Acting Class Weekly, but we'll still have a lot of fun over there. So excited about that.
I'm super excited. And I might have a cold brewski or something. I don't know.
Ooh, well, you're live at the Roxy. You're allowed to have whatever you want.
Am I? All right.
I'm going to gas Roxy up. I've been tuning in here and there. Roxy, I'm busy right now, but whenever I see it pop up on my recommended, I always watch it. You're great at what you do. It's a really fun show, and she really does spotlight people in her life and outside of her life in a very unique and fresh way. People I thought I knew I'm learning about because of Roxy's show. So check out Sean's show tomorrow and watch Roxy on that. You can find me on Twitter at Jeffrey C. Graham and Instagram at Jeffrey Crane Graham.
Yes. And where do we find you, Roxy?
Everywhere at Roxy's Dryer.
And as always, everywhere at Sean Whalen Actor, except for TikTok at Sean Whalen 19. Still a bone of contention with Roxy, but as always, thank you for letting me be part of your journey.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.